Hi everyone, Jessica here and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're looking at the newest issue of Die Cutting Essentials, and this was issue 94. We've got this perfect Poinsettia die set here. This is by Card Making Magic. We've got a 13-piece die set and stamp set, and it also comes with this extra magazine, Crafts for Christmas, and this is jam-packed with different kinds of Christmas crafts. You've got cooking, knitting, crocheting, obviously card making, you've got lettering in here, knitting, you know, so many different kind of products you've got in here as well. I really love this innovative ideas, which was using basic shapes and dies to create cards. So I think maybe we can have a look at doing something like that on my channel. A quick look through the magazine as well. So in here we've got how to actually use the dies. We've got lots of inspiration. There are papers as well. You've got 26 papers and toppers that you can download from the Craft World website, using them to make cards. Of course, you've got boxes here, you've got different tree decorations in here, you've got some really great Christmas inspiration just generally in this copy as well, which is perfect to start our Christmas makes. And I wanted to let you guys know that I'm doing 25 days of Christmas this December from the 1st until the 25th of December. Then looking ahead at the next issue, you have got this stamp and die set, and this is a Christmas, sort of like a snow globe scene. So getting into today's project, we're going to create two identical cards. We're going to bring in this Card Making Magic embossing folder, and this was just called a Traditional Christmas. I showed you it in a recent haul, and I thought this would go nice as a background with our perfect Poinsettia die. So the colour combination, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So we're going for this light, really light blue, and we're going for browns and golds as well. So we're using a little bit of Craft Perfect, a little bit of Creative Expressions cardstock, and a little bit of Hunky Dory Matte-tastic cardstock as well, because I do have a little bit of that in my stash, which I'm trying to use up a little bit. So to begin with, we're going to start with creating our background. This embossing folder is perfect. It has got lots of Christmas themed images on here, and we're going to use that with some of this Arctic blue cardstock, and you can see how well that embosses. A quick tip to get better embossing is to spritz your cardstock lightly with water to begin with, and that should prevent any cracking of your card. And I have been doing this for a while now, and I'm getting really great results with this. So I've cut that piece that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and we're going to add that to our card base afterwards. Now we're going to start using this perfect Poinsettia die, and I'm going to show you the different ways that the dies die cut. So within this you have got 2 dies for the Poinsettia, 2 for the leaves, and a Christmas word as well, which we're not going to be using on this card. So first of all, I've just die cut the main die here of that Poinsettia, which has got all of that detail, and I've done it this way around again to show you exactly how these die cut. So you can see this first one doesn't have a cutting edge. It does die cut all of that wonderful detail inside, but it will leave that design in your cardstock. This is going to be perfect. You could put a colour sort of behind it, and that's going to be super nice. But you can then pair it with the outer die as well, to then create a die cut Poinsettia. What you can do to save yourself a little bit of time is just tape the 2 dies together, a little bit of tape, and then add that to your cardstock and run that through your die cutting machine. What I would recommend with this particular die, I added an extra shim into my sandwich combination. So I had the 2 cutting plates, the plastic shim, the metal shim, and then my magnetic shim as well, just to make sure that all of those pieces came out and it die cut on the first go. So I've die cut 2 of those. So again, just to recap, you've got the 1 die which will die cut that detail and leave it in your cardstock. You've got the outer die, which I'm going to be using as well. You'll see that in a second, and then you can pair them together to create a normal die cut element. So you've got a little bit of choice with this, which I think is brilliant. So these 2 pieces of cardstock, this is the Hunky Dory Matte-tastic. Unfortunately, I don't know if the colours actually have names, but I wanted a light and dark brown here. I decided to cut the dark brown with just the outline, and this is then going to sit behind the gold Poinsettia, just to add a little bit of detail behind it, so you can actually see what's going on. Then I decided to use this light brown to die cut my leaves. I really love this combination. If you're stuck with colour combinations, you can just go onto Pinterest and have a look at what they've got on there. I just searched Christmas colour palettes. So we've die cut 6 of those, so we can have 3 on each card. And I did the same thing again, and it works the same. You get 2 dies with the flower, with the leaf, sorry. You get that piece which is going to die cut that detail and leave it in the cardstock. Then you have that outer die as well, which is going to either die cut a solid leaf, or it can die cut then that detail like you can see just on the desk. I'm using some foam pads and I'm covering the back of these embossed pieces, and these are going to go onto the card base. These foam squares are by Chloe's Creative Cards. These are quite thick, it adds quite a bit of dimension, but what I would say to prevent your cardstock from sagging is to really cover the back of this with a lot of foam. You would kind of hate for your cards to go, or projects to go through the post and then have them kind of sagging in any particular area. So I like to add more foam tape, to be honest, just to prevent that from happening. What I do love about these is you've got the individual squares, but the pull off, like the release paper, is super easy to take off. It's got like an extra little width on it, and it makes it so quick and easy. But I love the dimension that it does give, but I only really use these on certain projects when you really want to give it that wow factor. Otherwise, sometimes, yeah, I do think it can be a little bit too thick, but it's perfect for what we're creating here. And I figured I would create 2 cards today because, you know, we do have the supplies out. Why not create 2? It didn't really take me much longer to create this second one. So these 2 pieces, you can either line them up directly on top of each other, and that will just add that detail behind those leaves, or you can offset them like I'm going to here. So I'm taking my fine tip glue bottle from Crafter's Companion. This has got the Nuvo Deluxe glue in it, and I'm adding it literally in that center portion and then slightly moving out from the center, and that's all that's going to be attached to these brown pieces. Obviously don't fling it across the desk, is not ideal. I just rubbed away that little bit of glue, but this will dry clear. So I just slightly offset these, and I think this worked really nicely. Again, it just has a different color combination, something a little different, so your cards aren't all the same. And I think with the poinsettia, obviously traditionally they're red. You can see that on the packaging just to the right hand side, but it's nice to sort of show different combinations, maybe ones that you wouldn't traditionally use. So I did end up losing just a little bit of footage here. I didn't realize that my memory card was full up, so it wasn't actually recording. So what I ended up doing was simply just gluing these poinsettias in place, and then I do just tuck those leaves in around. So we've got 3 leaves for each of these poinsettias. I have 2 at the top and then 1 poking out from the bottom. And then I'd moved on to my sentiments. So you missed, unfortunately, me stamping the sentiments, but I went with a brown as well. So for these Merry stamps, I did that in Distress Ink Walnut Stain, and then for the Christmas I used Vintage Photo. So with the Merry, you get Wishes, Happy, Merry and Joy. They do come as one stamp, but I did cut mine apart, and you have this little banner detail on here, which I think is lovely. And then it does come with that banner. You can see just in the on the right hand side of the screen there, you can see it comes with this little banner die as well, which we are going to use. We used it to die cut the Merry, as you can see there, but we're also going to use it to add some banner detail to the card just to finish it off. I'm just trimming around the Christmas stamp here. What I could have done, to be honest, I forgot that it was there. I could have used the Christmas die cut, which I think would have looked nice, because I could have die cut that again, probably from that lighter brown cardstock is what I would have done. But I ended up using that to die cut the banner, which you'll see in a moment. So I'm going to kind of arrange this. It's nice to have the 2 different fonts here. We're going to add some foam tape to foam circles, sorry, to the back of both of these die cut sentiments, and then that's just gonna stand it up from that poinsettia. Now, what I would say, certainly with the mirror card, this is the Hunky Dory mirror card that I've used, the edges do come up and you can kind of see it there on that card on the left hand side. If you don't want that, just add glue all over the Poinsettia die cut, and then that will hold it down. I'm happy to get that little bit of dimension on there. Alternatively, if you're not getting as much depth and sort of shape as what you want it to, then do sort of shape your flowers before popping them onto your cards. But what I like is by adding the foam squares and then adding the sentiments to the side of it, it is kind of holding down that one side of the poinsettia, and it allows then the other bits to stand up nicely. And as I said then, so this is the small banner die. I think this is a really great addition for using, as you can see, for die cutting out those words, but also then in this way that we're doing here for that banner detail. I really liked it. So I kept the same length in that light brown, and then I did a shorter version. So I just die cut it from the gold mirror card and trimmed that down. And this just adds a nice little bit of variation. So the brown one is just going to go flat with glue. And we're going to do it up in this top right corner on both of the cards. Then we're going to add some foam onto the gold banner, just so we can overlap them slightly. I think that gives it a nicer finish, and again, it just adds a little bit of interest, and I really think this finishes this card nicely. We are going to add some Nuvo drops as well, and we're going to do that in the duck egg blue, just to bring in a little bit more of that blue, that lighter blue colour. And we're going to add that to the centre of the poinsettias, where you've got all of the circles die cut for the center of the flower. We're going to add them in there, and then we are going to be adding them just around the sentiment as well. And then that would be our cards finished for today's video. So I really love how these came out. It's something a little bit different, which is always nice, not using it maybe in the most traditional way, but yeah, I think these cards came out nicely. So if you did like this card, if you took anything from this video, even if it's just pure enjoyment of watching, please hit that thumbs up button to help support my channel, and that helps then with YouTube and pushing out more of my content. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. I will leave links to the products in the description box down below for you. So they are affiliate links, but the products that you purchase won't cost you any more, and I do earn a small commission from that as well. And also, I just wanted to let you know that I'm changing the times that I'm posting my videos. They're now going to be going live. It's either going to be at 2 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm going to try 2 p.m. That's when this video would have gone out, and I'm going to see whether that's any better than 6 p.m. So it might be just a little bit of changes in times, but I will let you know what time my videos are going to be going out, but the days are going to be exactly the same. So that's it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching, and happy crafting.